Okay guys, tonight you have a homework sheet. It has a total of 10 problems on it. I didn't say before you left class necessarily which numbers to do. If I don't say, look on Google Classroom to clarify. If anything, just watch the video. That will also clarify, but we are doing all 10 of these. I'm going to try to get through 5 of them. I have a short amount of time to do this. I'm going to go rather quickly, but you guys can always pause the video. You can rewind it, okay? So let's move through this. Today we are solving systems of equations using substitution. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some color. In class I did not. But we're going to start with number 1, y equals 6x minus 11. And the second equation is negative 2x minus 3y equals negative 7. And what we want to notice here is that we have 2 different equations, and each equation represents a line. Now to graph this on the graph over here, both of these equations would have to be solved for y. And if you notice the top equation, y is by itself. So this one you could graph on the graph very easily. The bottom equation, you would have to solve this equation for y by putting the 2x over here and then dividing by 3. You can do that. The problem is you're going to get an ugly fractional point and it's not going to be easy to graph. I'm not going to talk about that in detail right now. All to say is, trust me when I say that if you have a situation where only one of your equations is solved for y, it's better to use what we call substitution. And let me show you how this works. So to substitute, we're going to start with the equation that has y by itself, and we're going to put a box around this 6x minus 11. Now, if I said, guys, what does y equal? You could say y equals the box or what's inside the box. In this case, if we look at the box, this box has 6x minus 11 in it. But if I just said, do we all agree that y equals the box? The answer is obviously yes. So what we can do is whatever's in this box over here can replace the y in the other equation. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 6x minus 11 and we're going to put it in place of y in the red equation. So to do this, we're going to write the red equation, negative 2x minus 3. Notice, I put the negative 3, but I did not put the y because y is being replaced by the 6x minus 11. So instead of y, we're putting 6x minus 11. That is the substitution. Now when you do this, when you replace y with this whole expression, you need to put parentheses around that expression. And this equals negative 7. Okay? Now to finish the problem, guys, I'm going to use blue because blue comes up a little more clear on the camera. Now to finish this problem, we just have to solve this equation. We have to take this 3 and we have to multiply, or use what's called, if I have not made this clear, this is called distributive property. What is the distributive property? It's when I take 3 times x plus 2, 3 times a binomial. We're going to talk about binomials later. 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 2 is what? 6. So you're multiplying the 3 times each term inside the parentheses. This is called distributive property. So when I say distributive property, from now on, I'm talking about taking this 3 and multiplying by each object. So let's use distributive property. And before I do this, let's bring down this negative 2x. So this is going to be negative 2x. Now I have to do negative 3 times 6x. Remember that a negative times a positive is a negative. And 3 times 6x is 18x. Okay? Now we have to do negative 3. Make sure you guys are paying attention to the sign. This is a negative 3 times a negative 11. 3 times 11 is 33. And a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay? Remember our multiplication rules. Multiplication rules say that when I multiply or divide, by the way, this is multiplication or division. Rules are the same thing. If the signs are the same, when I multiply or divide, I'm going to get a big fat positive answer. That's why when I multiplied negative 3 times negative 11, I got a positive 33. When the signs are different, and I multiply or divide, I'm going to get a big fat negative answer. That's why when I did negative 3 times positive 6, I ended up with a negative 18. Okay, let's go a little more quickly here. Now to finish solving this equation, notice we have x terms on the same side of the equal sign. Don't make the mistake of doing this. We're not doing plus 18x plus 18x. We don't do this unless we're moving an x term to the other side. okay? If these x terms were on opposite sides of the equality, that's when you would add 18x. But since these x terms are on the same side, you just combine them. You are going -2 minus 18. And if we think of a number line, here's 0. If I'm going -2, that's left 2. And then I'm going -18, that's 18 more spaces. That's going to put me at -20. Why? Because I'm going left, left, that's addition. If you did not pick that up in class. So -2 minus 18 is -20x plus 33 equals -7. Now to finish this, we're going to subtract 33. Notice that the numbers are on opposite sides, so we have to subtract 33, and now we have -20x equals, and again, -7 minus 33, showing you that number line. If you never understood this, we're going left 7, which puts us at -7. Then we have to go left 33 more, which is going to be the same thing as adding. 33 plus 7 is going to give you -40. You go 7 spaces left, and then you go 33 more. That's the same as adding 7 and 33. Your answer is -40. Finally, at the end, we divide. We're going to divide by -20 to get rid of the 20 in front of the x. Divide by -20. And here we have, well, first off, let's calculate 40 divided by 20. When you do this, you're looking at your bottom number. How many times does it take 20 to make 40? Well, 20 plus 20 is 40, plus 20 is 60. So 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. How many times does it take to make 40? Just 2 times. So that means that 20 times 2 is 40, because I have to count it twice to make 40. So 40 divided by 20 is 2. Okay, for those of you that are struggling with division. Did a little extra explanation there, guys. By the way, what's a negative divided by a negative? Using our multiplication rules, if the signs are the same, we get a big fat positive answer. 2 negatives divided, we get a positive 2. Now, you're not quite done. Once you guys have the x value, remember we're finding a point of intersection of 2 lines. This point of intersection is going to have an x value and it's going to have a y value. We found the x value here to be what? 2. Now we still have to find the y value, and so that means you're going to have to take this 2 and plug it back into one of these equations. Which equation? It doesn't matter. Both equations will give you the same answer. But my recommendation is use the equation that had the box. Use the equation where y was by itself. It's a little easier. So let's put it into this equation. We're going to have y equals 6, but instead of writing x, I'm going to put that number in for x. So it's going to be not 6x, but 6 times 2 minus 11. Now we end up with 6 times 2 is 12, so we end up with y equals 12 minus 11. And 12 minus 11 is 1, so y equals 1. So we have an x value of 2, we have a y value of 1. That means our x value is 2, y value is 1, and this is our point of intersection. So if we were to graph these 2 lines on a graph, they would intersect at 2, 1. Okay? All right, next. I don't know if the camera screen goes all the way. Let me test this. The camera screen goes to that. Yeah, it does, easily. I could move this over a little more, well, we'll just leave it. So 2x minus 3y equals -1, and y equals x minus 1. Okay, we notice that the bottom equation has y by itself, so I'm going to put a box around the x minus 1. Now, well, we'll use color one more time. Good. Okay, so the bottom equation has y by itself on the left side of the equal sign, so I'm going to put a box around the x minus 1. And what this means is I can take the x minus 1 and I can replace the y in the other equation with it. Okay? Now, we're writing the blue equation. 2x minus 3, but instead of writing y, we're going to put in this box. We're going to put in the x minus 1, and what's going to go around that? It's parentheses, okay? And this is equal to -1, okay? All right, now we just have to solve. To solve this, we're going to use distributive property. We're going to multiply this 3 on both of these terms. This means that the 2x just comes down. -3 times x is -3x. -3 times -1. Careful, negative times negative, we just learned is positive. 3 times 1 is 3, equals -1. Now, when I'm doing the 2x minus 3x, notice these x terms are on the same side. You have to combine them. Remember, we're thinking about a number line. I've got to go positive 2, then I have to go negative 3. If I go right 2, I'm at 2, and then I go left 3, my final resting place is negative 1. Doesn't that mean I could have just subtracted? When you guys go opposite directions on the number line, you go right and then you go left, you can just subtract. What is 3 minus 2? That is a 1x. Now you just have to ask yourself, which side of 0 am I going to be on? Am I going to be at a positive 1 or am I going to be at a negative 1? Because you went right only 2 units, but you went left more, you're going to be on the negative side of 0. You're going to be on the left side. The 3 is bigger. The 3 is negative. It's the bigger number, so this is a negative 1x plus 3 equals negative 1. Just real quick, we don't write negative 1x, we just put negative x. And I do want to mention what happens if you had negative 2 plus 3. Again, you guys have opposite signs. I go left, then I go right. I could subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. Which side of 0 am I going to be on? Well, if I go left only 2 units, but I go right 3, I'm on the positive side of 0. So the answer is positive 1. Why? Because the bigger number is positive. Okay? All right, just wanted to mention that. Opposite directions on a number line is subtraction. Now, we want to move this 3 over here. So if it's positive 3, we're going to subtract 3. Now we have negative x equals, and I have to calculate negative 1, negative 3. If you didn't understand this in context on the last one, negative 1, negative 3, I'm going left 1, and then I'm going left 3 more. So let's look at why, when they're the same, or you're going same direction on the number line, that this is addition. If I go left 1, I'm at negative 1. Then I have to go left 3 more. 1, 2, 3. My final resting place is negative 4. So what I could have done, since I know that I'm going left 1, left 3, and they're both negative, I can just add them up. 1 plus 3 is 4, and I'm going to be on the left side of 0, so my answer is negative 4. Don't forget, you have a negative 1 in front of x, so you're going to have to divide by what? Divide by negative 1 at the end, and you're going to get x equals, be careful, 2 negatives divided is positive. Notice, here I had 2 negatives, and I got a negative. Why? Because I'm doing addition subtraction. Addition subtraction of 2 negatives is going to result in a negative number, because you went left, left. When you're doing multiplication or division, which are the rules that I posted earlier in the video, I posted them up here if you want to rewind and look. Multiplication and division are simple. Same signs, positive. So since these signs are the same, they're both negative, they cancel each other out, and we get 4 divided by 1 is a positive 4. Now I have my x value. Remember, that's only the first number in your point. You still have to solve for your y value. And I recommend plugging this x value into the equation that has y by itself. So we're going to have y equals, instead of writing x minus 1, we're going to put the 4 in for x. So it's going to be 4 minus 1, and y equals what? 3. So here's my y value of 3, and this is my point of intersection 4, 3. Okay? So if I were to graph both of these lines, they would intersect at 4, 3. Okay, we're going to kind of speed up the next 2 problems. Going to go a little more quickly. You probably just fast forward and get the notes on these. Y equals negative 3x plus 5, and then we have 5x minus 4y equals negative 3. We're going to put a box around this. Y is equal to the box. So I'm going to take the box, I'm going to put it in for y in the other equation. I am going to go a little more quickly, guys. You can obviously pause, take the notes, rewind if you need to. So now I'm going to have 5x minus 4, but instead of y, everything in the box. And I put parentheses around it. So instead of the y, I put the negative 3x plus 5 equals negative 3. This is really the only new step, guys, putting that in. Everything else we've done previously. We're going to take this 4 and distribute. That means I'm going to bring the 5x down. Negative 4 times negative 3x. Negative times negative is positive. 4 times 3 is 12, so I get a 12x. Negative 4 times positive 5. Well, 4 times 5 is 20. Negative times positive is negative. Notice I do 2 steps there, okay? I do the multiplication of the numbers first, and then I check my signs. Now, I got to combine my x terms. 5x plus 12x is 17x minus 20 equals negative 3. Why is 5x plus 12x 17? Well, because I went on a number line, right 5, and then I went right 17 more. That puts me at, oops, I went right 5, and then I went right 12 more. That puts me at 17, okay? Now I need to add the 20. 17x equals, now these signs are different. I'm going left 3, then I'm going right 20. When you turn around, this is subtraction. 20 minus 3 is 17. And since I went more in the positive direction, that means it's going to be a positive 17. Divide by 17 at the end. What do we end up with? X equals 17 divided by 17 is 1. I get an x value of 1. And now I've got to plug that into the easiest equation, which is this one. Y equals negative 3, not x, but I'm going to put the 1 in there. Negative 3 times 1 plus 5. This means I have to multiply negative 3 times 1. Multiplying opposite signs is negative. So it's going to be negative 3 plus 5. Now I'm doing left 3, right 5. Left 3, right 5 is a turnaround. That's subtraction. 5 minus 3 is 2. And since I'm going to be more positive than I am negative, it's a positive 2. So my y value is positive 2, and this is the point of intersection. Okay? Guys, just because of time's sake, I've got to get out and I've got to coach. I'm going to do one more, and the rest of the problems are on you to finish. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 of them tonight. So negative 3x minus 3y equals 3. And then I have y equals negative 5x minus 17. We're going to put a box around this. This is going to go in for y in the other equation. Now we have negative 3x minus 3, not y, but all of this. Negative 5x minus 17 equals 3. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this 3 and distribute. Before we do that, we're going to bring this negative 3x down. Negative 3 times negative 5 is a positive 15x. Negative 3 times negative 17, you guys can just multiply this. I got to do 17 times 3. 3 times 7 is 21. You put the 1, carry the 2. 3 times 1 is 3, add the 2 is 5. So I get 51. Negative times negative is positive. So I get positive 51 equals 3. Now, left 3, that's negative. Left 3, right 15, that's subtraction. 15 minus 3 is 12. I'm obviously more positive, so it's a positive 12x. Plus 51 equals 3. Now I'm going to take away 51. 12x equals 3 minus 51. This is a right 3, left 51. Again, a turnaround. That's subtraction. 51 minus 3 is 48. You just count backwards, guys. 50, 49, 48. Very simple. Now I'm more negative because I went left more than I went right. This is going to be a negative 48. Now we divide by 12. So we had x equals 48 divided by 12. We memorized this one in class. 48 divided by 12 is 4. And what's a negative divided by a positive? When we divide different signs, we get a negative. So x is negative 4. So I have my x value. I need my y value. So I'm going to take the negative 4 and plug it into this equation. Y equals negative 5 times, not x, but I'm putting in negative 4. And then I have the minus 17. Okay? Now I have y equals negative 5 times negative 4 is positive 20 minus 17, and 20 minus 17 is 3. So I get y equals 3, and my point of intersection is negative 4, 3. Guys, have a wonderful evening. Good luck on your homework. Make sure you guys get this finished. Make sure you guys get last sites finished, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.